Wow, are we having a lot going on in the Utah housing market, in the nationwide housing market? Cancellations are up and the recession is back on the table. 1 in 7 pending home sales, again, 1 in 7 pending home sales are getting canceled. The highest share during this time of year on record. This is a Redfin article. We are seeing the amount of cancellations rising again as the recession is back on the table. US recession odds are becoming unsettlingly high. Right here, the Federal Reserve's favorite recession indicator is flashing a danger sign again. Now, this is important to keep an eye out on because it is resembling what happened in 2022 when we saw prices dropping upwards of 15%. And let me show you that right over here. If you take a look at this, in May of 2022, we hit the peak. $600,000 was the highest median price that we've ever had in the greater Salt Lake City area. We still have not reached those peaks. Remember, if you've been watching the videos, the spring sees an uptick, and in the second half sees a downward trend. Second half becomes a buyer's market, whereas the spring becomes a seller's market. However, that isn't really the case this time around. So back to this, $600,000 was the peak. Then we had 9 consecutive months of price drops to January of 2023, where the median price went all the way down to $510,000. We went from $600,000 in the median price down to $510,000, which was essentially 15% off of the median high price of May of 2022 by the time January 2023 rolled around. I'm going to show you why this is back on the table, and there are some similarities that we're seeing here in 2025 that we saw in 2022, meaning that some great deals are potentially just around the corner. Now remember, when you do need a realtor anywhere in Utah, Dinko the Realtor has your back when you're looking to buy or sell. Give me a call. My contact information is down below in the description. Now, back to this. The fact that this is back on the table, the recession talks, if we go over here, this is something that I've been showing here for quite some time. This gap just continues widening. That blue-purple line right there, that is 2025. That orange line is 2024. Look how much more inventory we have. And we are right now at 40% more inventory. Now, I am working on that video. I'm going to have the breakdowns of each county in the greater Salt Lake City area for you. That video is probably going to drop here in the next 7 to 8 days. However, right now, this is something that we need to pay attention to. The increasing gap, the fact that we have the recession back on the table, the fact that cancellations are up, and how that is mimicking what has happened here in 2022. Now, pay attention to this because it's going to be very important. For this, smash that like button. Help me grow this YouTube channel. Nobody has your back like Dinko the Realtor. Check this out. Number of listings entered. And let me just remove myself. That way I'm not blocking any of these lines. If we take a look at this blue-purple line, look how many more listings are being entered compared to 2023, 2024, all the way back to 2021. Now, if you take a look at 2022, what was the difference here compared to 2021? Well, it was the inventory growth. Look how much more inventory you had hitting the housing market year over year. Well, now that is true compared to the last year. So we have one similarity. Now, let's go over to the next similarity. We look at under contracts. Well, what's happening with under contracts? They are declining year over year. If we go to 2022 compared to 2021, what did they do? Well, look at that. Look at the second half here of 2021, and look once April came around in 2022. Under contract started declining year over year. Now, we're probably not going to see that big of a separation because we were going back from those peaks in the pandemic of 7,500 homes under contract. So we're probably not going to see that big of a gap, but still similarities. Now, look how many less under contracts we have right now compared to 2021 and 2022. That pandemic market is gone. Inventory levels are back to pre-pandemic levels. Anyway, look at these similarities. Now, if we go over here to the next one, the solds. Well, look at this. The solds are at the lowest point that they've been from 2021 to here. And if we go to 2022 and 21, look at this similarity. Again, 2021, look at the solds and look at them declining in 2022. So I'm going to give you a recap here, and then I'm going to give you some more information, because the second half, once July comes around here in 2025, you're going to have much more inventory and prices are going to be much better. And the second half of 2025 is going to be a much better buyer's market than it was in 24, 23, and it's going to potentially resemble what's going on over here, what happened in the second half of 2022, where we saw these big price drops. I mean, we have similarities. Again, we're going to do a recap here. We have cancellations increasing. We have recession odds back on the table, which is going to make companies and stock markets performing worse, and they're going to be putting things in reserve, which means, and now there's potential that we are actually entering a recession where GDP here to start the first quarter of 2025 is actually going to be negative, which is signaling potentially a recession. Once you have 2 negative quarters in a row with GDP, that's a recession, unless they change their terminology. I mean, they did that last time in 2022, so you never know. Anyway, so we're seeing actives are increasing. There's another similarity. We see number of listings entered being higher. There's another similarity to those price drops that we saw in the second half of 22. Under contracts, well, we see under contracts are dropping, and then we see solds are dropping as well. This is all going to mean much more competition for the sellers, and the buyers are going to have a much bigger pool of homes to choose from. That's the data. That's not me saying it. Not me. The data's saying it. And all I do is show you the data, follow the data, and the data is what the data is. Now, subscribe if you haven't, because nobody's going to be giving you this kind of data. Also, I'm going to drop a link down here. I'm not done with this video. I actually have something else to show you what I want to pay attention to. But I'm going to put a link down there. And in the previous video, I was saying that I was going to have counties and show the inventory growth in the greater Salt Lake City counties that are here around us. Now, what I'm going to actually do is a monthly email with a market update for the Utah housing market, showing you how inventory is growing. That way you're able to track what's happening in the county that you're interested in, what's happening for the entire MLS, what's happening in the counties. So I'm going to drop that video here in the next 7 to 8 days. But then if you sign up, I'm going to put it in the description, I'll put it in the comment there. If you sign up to that form that's there, I'm going to give you a monthly update email with what's going on. That way you can track the data that is important and specific to you. Nobody's got your back like Dinko the Realtor. Smash that like button if you haven't. Do me a solid. Do me that favor. Help me grow the YouTube channel. Now, right here, let me pull this up. Now, tariffs. Well, tariffs are hitting the Utah housing market, and they're going to be hitting the national housing market. So they're hitting the housing market everywhere. Now, one thing is tariffs are making everything more expensive. Cost of construction, cost of new builds, and essentially the cost for builders is going to go up $7,500 to $10,000. Now, is this going to make homes more expensive, or is it going to intensify the recession that is back on the table? Now, that's the big kicker, right? Because tariffs are going to make things more expensive, and we're already in an unaffordable environment. Homes are not selling, cars are not selling at the pace that they need to. So anyway, I'll let you be the judge of that. And then right here, I'm going to leave you with this. Right here. This is what Jerome Powell says. I've shown this article, I think, 2 times by now. It's a low hiring environment, Powell said last week. Now, if we were to see a spike in layoffs, he continued, if companies were to start reducing headcount, you would see unemployment go up pretty quickly because the hiring rate is quite low. Well, if the recession is back on the table, our hiring is not going to increase. It's potentially going to decrease. And then we could see people getting laid off at a higher pace, which is all resembling back to what we had in 2022. And that's why I believe that we're going to see some really good deals here in the second half. And I think that this second half of 2025 is going to be a much stronger buyer's market than the second half of last year, or 2023, resembling that second half of 2022. When you do need a realtor anywhere in Utah, Dinko the Realtor has your back. My contact information is down below. Don't forget to sign up. That link is going to be down there in the comments. It's going to be in the description. Sign up. That way you can stay up to date with what's going on in the Utah housing market that's specific to the county that you're interested in.